It's John Tommy Rose for the TATTN. I'm doing another recording of the Ballona Wetlands, which is right here. It was way bigger, but of course it got butchered by civilization when the white people got here. And let's just zoom in on this. Raise this up a little bit. You can see the transparency I have on there from the alternative one they want to do. What I want to show is that in this flyover that I'm going to go up so you can kind of see it. Here's the channel now, and they want to cut and bulldoze all this land in here, and also put a set of levees that are 25 to 30 feet high, even more around the perimeter, like I mentioned in my other video. What I want to show in here is how the effects will be for doing that. But one thing I want to point out, this will never happen. The saltwater tidal prism that goes way up to almost the 405, which is a couple of miles. It's like closer to 3 miles. That's how low this area is, because the channel, the water runs that far, and that's the same problem they're going to have here. No matter how deep they dig it or excavate it, it won't change the sea level on low and high tide, and we're not even talking about the storm surges or tsunamis, which this is basically doing for Playa Vista over here to protect it. Otherwise everything can shoot right through and wipe them out, which wouldn't hurt my feelings. Anyway, so this is very misleading. Where the seawater is going to be is on this grade line here. These are the elevation topo, so these lines represent height changes. So this is the top. It's the top right now, and there's nothing that is in 3D to show it. Their elevations are way off, but I'm going to try to explain it because I think it's important. And so just bear with me. But to get to my point, all this will be full of water because the levees are here. All this will be full of water, and the whole area will be inundated with salt water, which it's never happened, and contaminate that area. I put in a freshwater alternative. I hope people will, for this whole area, including in area A over here and B, and sections of B. They've already done their saltwater, with the tide gates and inundated this more, and it's not working. And the officials have told me that they're not satisfied with this, so they want to go over in here. Well, that's too bad. They had their chance here, and it didn't work, and it shows that their plan and expertise and knowledge and all their schemes don't work. So they have to fix this. With already salt pan, it's done. Nothing will grow there except salt-related things, and it's marginal. But it is a habitat for the birds now. They're used to it, so I say leave it alone. Maybe improve it, but have a separate plan for this. On this one, because it is a flood control and tsunami protection for Playa Vista over here, this main development, this is designed for that. There's a diverter here. There's a huge levee all around here to contain it. So when the tsunami comes through in this direction, what's going to happen is a lot of the water will go in here in this big lagoon they want to build, and then a lot of water will shoot up there. And people have to realize that this thing is basically the width of a football field, and you know, it's large, and it's extensive. So a lot of water can go up there, and then this is kind of a containment area. It's really a detention basin for tsunami and storm surge. But again, this bony thing is salt water, and it'll never be that elevation. The water's too high, and the sea level, they can't change with the grade like they've done. So anyway, let me start moving this around. So when you go into this part down in here, I'm starting with area A. These are the levees that are 25 to 30 feet high, so just bear that in mind as we go around here. And hopefully that'll never happen and we can stop them. So this is area A. That's the marina, of course. You know, it's over here. I have that overlay on there, so it's a little bit harder to see, but you know where you're at if you live around here. If not, let me go up and give you some perspective if you don't live here. This is LAX, and then these are the bluffs, and Santa Monica's over here. This is Marina del Rey, Culver City, and downtown is over here, downtown LA. Excuse me. Anyway, so back to the wetlands. Sorry, it's jumping around. This is tricky. I'm trying to fly this in there, and so it's in 3D, so it's not accurate. I mean, the bluffs aren't that steep, but you can see the levees that they want to put in. They show different colorings, but they're all very misleading to me. In the areas over here, let's say, the levees and these embankments they're pretty big. They're 150 to 200 feet wide and 2 to 3 stories tall. So, you know, they're going to have to dig all this out and excavate it to have enough material to put it here. And my math is that it's, their math is 3 million cubic yards. That's a cubic yard of dirt, you know, 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot. And their math is 3 million. And my math is it's closer to 5 to 9 million in actuality. So they're underplaying that. And let me show you. This is area A north and this is area C north and area C south. And they have this thing in here that goes nowhere. This is a remnant of the original Ballona Creek that came in here and brought fresh water to this area. This area had fresh water, and there is fresh water really close here, but it's not it's really close to the surface. And they say it's full of the Marina del Rey fill when they built it, the harbor, but the water is 5 to 10 feet right in this area. So it doesn't pan out with what they're saying is 20 foot of fill. And also, if there's 20 foot of fill, it would be level with the levee here, like it is in area C here. So another thing that we've just proven and is inaccurate, you know, they're falsifying the record. I'm going to go over area A real quick. And we have a lot of sites here. I'm not going to, you know, go into that, but this whole area is a registered sacred site. A lot of people know that live here, but I'm going to go up the hill here and, sorry. I'm using 3 different input devices, so it's a little tricky. So anyway, you can see the main damage in the excavation, if they do their alternative one, is to Area A, which is right there. And we go on this side of it. So as they labeled it, this is Area A. Area A is the property north of the levee. This is the north levee of the Ballona Channel. This is the south levee. I don't know why they keep calling this a creek. It's a storm channel that was built by the Army Corps, who still owns it, even though Playa Vista illegally sold it to the state, and the county thinks they have some, minimal authority. All they have is operational and maintenance duties on the flood control with the county. But Playa Vista actually sold this. My math is it's 83 acres. They sold it to the state at top dollar. So we're looking into having that investigated for fraud by Playa Vista and Playa Capital and all of them. And that battle's not over. Anyway, a lot of details, but there's a lot of history with this, and a lot of it's being crooked and fraudulently performed. So what I want to show too is, let me back this up a little bit. I want to show that the water, and I'm going to go over this when I lose that overlay, the water from this freshwater forest that Playa Vista put in, the water goes under a culvert and dumps into the channel now, and I'll show you in more detail. But that water can be piped around from this access area on the culvert, under the culvert bridge, like they do a lot of pipelines. This is just, 6 to 8 inch Driscoll line, and it's pretty inert. It's, thick plastic, but you can drive a bulldozer over it. They could drop it down here and run a kind of a snake-shaped pipe all the way down, and then have distribution lines coming off of it. And all this with no excavation, just restoring the fresh water, and especially in the ponding areas that are around here already. This could be fresh water restored without any excavation and without any impacts to wildlife or habitat. And that's very important to us tribally, but also to a lot of the people that care about the land and know that the animals that are trying to survive in this area that's under duress from the work with the SoCal gas, what their operations do, and other impacts, that if the fresh water was brought in here, then it would restore itself, because it's been robbed by the water from Playa Vista and chopping out these buildings and these big excavations they did, and it interfered with the shallow aquifers. So the water doesn't go across like it used to underneath. But we could restore it with some irrigation, and then do some native planting, and do it in sections, trees, coastal oak, willows, and give habitat for all the ranges of wildlife that's there, instead of the wildlife genocide that will occur if they get to do this alternative one, which everyone should oppose. I know some of the sellout enviro groups are for it, like Friends of Ballona Wetlands and Heal the Bay and the other. They got a bunch of people going for it, but they've been paid off. Heal the Bay got $300,000 for the Malibu Creek Lagoon fiasco, and that doesn't work. And some of the same scientists have weighed in on this, so I have little hope that this will actually work, besides the destruction. And the cultural resource, there's a lot of cultural resources out there, tribal, that is a constraint, and they haven't really dealt with that at all. None of this will fly on that level either. But let's go back to this plan, because I want to get rid of it physically and literally off this flyover. But this gives you an idea of their plan. I'm kind of flying over because it gives you a different perspective than looking at the drawings. So you can see what they're going to do here. I'm going to make another point here. This big levee here, a lot of this area right now is the only public area right in here. It's limited, but it's a public area. It goes right about to here where there's a bird watching platform and deck. That's all going to be lost because of the levee. And you have to realize that you will not see the wetlands anymore from Culver or Fiji Way over here because the levee will be 2 to 3 stories high, so you won't have the visual of wetlands when you're going by or riding your bike or walking. So they plan on putting some hiking trails up here, but it's different than, you know, what you can do now. And I just want to bring up that point. So let me fly this around here. Excuse me. So let's go around this way. You can see their diagrams about the salt pans and all that. Again, there's the marina main inlet. And that's what they want to do. So I'm going to get rid of this thing. Bear with me a second. Alright. So now I want to fly over this wetland area. You can see on the date it's actually, it's funny, that's this month. So it's pretty much how it is right now. And you can see a lot of green, but I want to show you a few things that the overlay kind of covers. Sorry, just bear with me a second. One thing that when we're talking about the prior work and the prior plans to this, you know, in the Playa Vista disaster that occurred in the wetlands, which is all this development, a lot of commercial, a lot of residential. But they tore out our burial area right in this spot here. And you can see this algae in the riparian corridor. I call it the ditch. And it goes under Lincoln. But it's not working. It's not flowing. And it's growing toxic algae. And so that's a negative adverse effect to that ditch. And there's algae all the way to here, and it's probably even further. You know, it's a good mile in, so there's a lot of algae in that water that Playa Vista is wasting from having to pump out their areas. I'm going to drop down and fly down here, and you can look at it a little bit better. But that light green there, where that disc is blinking, that's algae. Those are huge algae blooms, and that thing's pretty wide. That's not just a little bit. That's a lot of material. If you look in scale, it's as wide as the road that goes along the base there. So it's a good 70, 80 feet wide and a mile or so long. But the algae is, you know, very prevalent in this area. And it's a toxic material, and it does injure and hurt the wildlife that drinks that water. So, and you can see it now on this side. Right here is Lincoln, PCH, and the water from the ditch goes under the road and goes into the freshwater farce. Excuse me. It goes under the freshwater, the Lincoln to the freshwater farce. Let me back this up a little bit. This is more like helicopter mode than a flying airplane, or drone. So this is the freshwater farce. This thing, and over here, all the water dumps off of PCH. LMU's got storm drains in there. Playa Vista's got storm drains that go straight across. They don't go to the ditch. They don't have the grade. So there's a lot of drains over here. Jefferson drains in here. So all this dewatering and illegal waste water that Playa Vista's wasting comes through, and they dump it all in the ditch or in these storm drains. And then it goes in this freshwater marsh mitigation that Playa Vista tricked everyone into going with and approving. But they see now that we've brought up a lot of issues that it's dysfunctional, it's illegal and non-compliant. So you can see the algae in the freshwater marsh right there. That's algae. And you can go on Google Earth and look for yourself. I haven't altered these at all. This is just right off Google Earth this year. And it looks like this month. So anyway, that's all there. And then where the hand is the, right here is where this drains into this culvert that's underground. It goes under Jefferson and Culver Road. Goes under here. Comes out over here. And it dumps into the channel. And we found out it's leaking, so actually seawater is backing in because they didn't figure there's no grade for this. This thing doesn't even drain right. And so there's mixing of water, and I'm not sure how it's actually working or not, but there's information that people have provided that shows that it's not working, and the tide gates there aren't working. I'm going to spin this around so you can see the drain itself. So it's right there. This is close to high tide. You can barely see the angle, but this is where they cut it out and went through. And then that pipeline goes right in here. It comes over here and cuts over and goes into here. So what I'm saying is, when I talk about restoring the fresh water, instead of dumping that water from Playa Vista over here, that they're illegally wasting. And by the way, this land was deeded from Playa Vista to the state. So State Lands Commission has this, and they are wasting the water that's state water, and then doubly state water because it's on state land, and they're responsible for that water. They claim they're not, but they need to, get better lawyers or read the water code better, but they're wrong. So what I'm saying, I'm going to back this up a little bit and go higher. So we can pipe that water on the top of the levee right here. We can pipe it over with a Driscoll line hanging under the Culver Bridge, and then have it come through, and the pipe can continue on this Culver Bridge over Lincoln and get water to area A south and A north. There's a way to do it, and but mainly we could restore the water back through this pipeline that I discussed before in here with distribution pipes. These are real low profile, no digging, and then this all could be restored. And I think that's something that people should support. I think it's criminal that they didn't have a freshwater alternative, and they only mentioned freshwater 118 times. It was mostly talking about this thing and other mentions, but they also illegally, originally the EIS was supposed to cover the freshwater forest too, and then Playa Vista and Mary Small from the Coast Conservancy had it removed. But this should be considered as part of that review because it's not working, and between the salt pan tide gate project that's failing and doesn't work, even by their own admittal, and this thing over here in the ditch, over here, it just shows a pattern of defective engineering, defective, fraudulent falsification of the information. So that's why these things are being excluded. That's my opinion, but I think a lot of people would agree if they knew the history. So, if we can get a freshwater alternative in a supplemental EIS, I think that would be very possible. And I think, hang on, I'm going to spin this back so we can get a little overview from just looking like towards the ocean. We can get these areas restored with the fresh water like they had. The Ballona Creek, originally, the real creek, which was the West Fork of the LA River, went through right here. And that's well documented. And that's why this Fiji Channel ditch is here, is because they had to put something. It was supposed to go like this and over here and down there, but it's not working. But it's when the Army Corps did this, they had to have something to not only drain these areas, and that's what these do, is they drain to the channel, but it also lets seawater in. And when you look at this channel right here, right now, and again, we have to look at the sea level rise itself, and I'm not talking about the climate change sea level rise, I mean the current one, that the sea level is very close. So it also it makes it disputable that field that they're saying is here and they have to take it out for some reason is not true, because the sea level is still very close. It goes way up into here. I think even here you can see it goes up to here, depending on the tide. So, and this is exaggerated because I'm running in 3D. This is only about 5 or 6 feet. It's not that high, and it's not that high from the water when you can see it on high tide. But there's a culvert underneath Fiji, and this is Dock 52 in here, or Pier 52 right here. But there's a large culvert that goes through, and that's where this is. And so that's for water runoff to dump in the ocean. And again, but it's so shallow it doesn't really work, because there's low areas here and it holds the water, the rainwater, so that's good. Anyway, that's my 2 bits. So I hope everyone will support the freshwater alternative we're trying to get with the supplementary EIS, and make them do it right. Instead of having 3 alternatives for saltwater inundation, just have, at least have one in there that's fresh water, that's historically correct, and without excavations here or any wildlife habitat and cultural resources damages that would be created from them excavating. So thank you, and hope you liked the video.